matter of fact, never mind. Jim Keegan.
Okay. Irishman.
James Keegan.
I used to play tennis with a Jim Keegan, different guy.
Yeah, let's hope. You would never know with this guy. I'm going to tell you the story, and if I've told it before, you can.
I have not heard the story, I promise.
Okay. So I'm in federal prison fighting my case, right? Loosely fighting my case. Really, I'm just kind of writing stories and hoping that Frank will get me out. This other guy will fight my case. So I'm in prison, and this guy comes on the compound. He just came from doing like 4 years or 5 years in the state.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Once you look into it, if you're like, he did 18 months, whatever. He had gone to state, got 4 or 5 years, actually according to him, had fought for 3 years, his case. Ends up pleading guilty in the state, gets some state time served, does another year or two, gets out, comes to federal. So now he's got to do some federal time for whatever reason. The reason he said he was there was that he was consistently beating in Chicago, he was consistently beating state charges for gang members. He's like, I was representing gang members for different murders. He was a criminal defense attorney. I had like 5 or 6 cases where I won every single case, went to trial. So the gang leaders, they're coming to me. He is admittedly, these guys aren't writing checks. They're giving me cash, whatever. He said a lot of them, their families would give them money orders, checks. He said at some point they end up, the state ends up investigating him, and the feds come in and investigate him. Because the feds can get you for stuff that the state can't. So they get me for commingling funds. So he names off a bunch of stuff that he says they get him for. We don't know any better.
Yeah.
So, but none of this is true.
Yeah, none of this sounds right. Okay,
this is what he tells. So
sure,
he fights it. Well, first he says, he's got first they try and get him on this. They have to drop that. They have to drop this. They have to drop all these charges. Whatever.
So when you're in prison, you don't know what the fellow inmates are in for.
What I know, he's in for wire fraud.
How do you know that? Is there like some sort of like...
You can get a judgment commitment, or you can just go on. You can kind of look and see what he's fighting. Sometimes they'll put it on. We have like a version of Pacer, a limited version, or people look it up. But there was an article about him. So people had an article where they got him for like wire fraud. He got him for wire fraud, Jim Key, and guys are looking him up, and because they're like, damn, this guy says he was a fucking big time defense attorney. Yeah. So they look him up, and people are coming with like, bro, this is who Jim Keegan is, and they're reading it, and he represented this gang member, 2 murders, acquitted. This one acquitted. This one not guilty. This one just boom, boom, boom.
He's like Mike Tyson in the 80s.
Like this guy is he's amazing. So guys are coming to him saying, bro.
He's looking for legal advice.
Take my case.
Yeah.
He's I'm only going to be here about 3 years. He really had less than that.
Yeah.
I got like 3 years. I'm just writing it out, bro. I'm just not interested. But people are begging him. And he's like, I don't do federal. I do state.
Yeah. And he's arguing at trial. It's not like he's an appellate guy or
right. But he doesn't. But these guys are. You've got nobody. This is a real lawyer. And so they're arguing. It's like between him and Frank Amadeo, who thinks his troops are gonna storm on Washington and he's gonna take the country over. It's like, I don't know. I'm gonna go with this guy who I can read, who's a criminal defense attorney in the state.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like, feds the same. He's like, no, the feds is much harder. So, and he has these, and so he's having, and keep in mind, Frank Amadeo's there. He's talking to him.
Yeah.
Frank Amadeo was a lawyer. Frank Amadeo, absolutely. He's a real lawyer. So, anyway, so he's got other lawyers that are there. Nobody's questioning him. He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
So finally he says, okay, look, here's the thing. I've read your case. This is a pretty, this is a slam dunk. And he's like, here's what I'm going to do. If you can give me, God, I can't believe this. Look, my brother is a lawyer in Orlando. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
He said, my brother's a lawyer in Orlando. I'm actually going to go work for him. When I go to the halfway house, that's my job.
Yeah.
So I will be able to kind of continue your case, and it's not that complicated, and I think I can get you off on blah, blah, blah. And he's always in the law library.
Yeah.
So he takes, have your family send me $2,500. Okay. Send it to my brother. They sent to his brother. Another guy. This is probably he's 3 to 6 months away from being out the door.
Okay.
Nobody knows this though. They think he's got 3 years to go. He's leaving for halfway house soon. Anyway, so they're giving him money. He's got like so I've heard different, some of them it's like he ended up getting $20,000, $30,000, $35,000. I've heard up to $40,000, $50,000 is what he got from him. And I know at least 10. Because, I don't know everybody he's talking to, but I know at least multiple guys that are like, I sent him 2,500, another guy 15, another 3, another. So his brother got at least 10.
Yeah.
Some guys are saying 40 and 50. So bottom line is a few months later, he's like, holy shit, I got more halfway house. I won this, whatever. I'm leaving. I'm going to the halfway house. I got a year halfway house, but I'll be working at my brother-in-law's or at my brother's.
I'm not going to forget about you.
I'm not going to forget about you. And he started filing paperwork or preparing paperwork. Like I don't think he's filed anything yet, but he's preparing,
drafting.
And keep in mind, you could have anybody draft up stuff for you. Like there's like Frank has trained a couple hundred guys who are doing legal work at this place,
right? And
so he's doing it. So he leaves. Nobody hears from him. Finally, after a few months, guys start. Keep in mind, people have you can only have like a year to file your 2255, and he's promised people all kinds of stuff. So people's deadlines are coming up. They start calling his brothers.
The actual attorney in Orlando.
His brother's law firm.
Right.
Now, of course, they're not answering.
Yeah.
And then their families start calling. Mm-hmm. Need to talk to Jim Keegan. He's handling we know Jim is your brother.
Yeah.
We know he's working there. He's like, my brother's not working here. He's in a halfway house. And they're like, well, he's doing the legal work for such and such. And so finally, they get him on the phone. He talks to him. They're like, and the only reason he's even entertaining talking to these people on the phone, by the way, is because they mailed a check to his law firm.
Right.
Your law firm got this check, or you personally got the check and deposited it.
Yeah, the Orlando lawyer's got an issue.
He's got an issue. You're doing legal work here. Right. You cash a check, even if it's in your name or either way, you've got a problem here, and it's your brother. Mm-hmm. And he's saying he's not working here. And so what ends up happening, and I may have some of the details wrong, but they start filing with the Florida bar.
Yeah.
And it's not one person. Mm-hmm. We're talking a dozen or so people are say with copies of the canceled checks.
The paralegal, the bar association is seeing the same name again and again
exactly.
and again. Yeah.
So they go to launch an investigation. Mm-hmm. He starts mailing people their money back. $2,500, $3,000, $1,500. I know one guy who wrote up a whole thing.
Yeah.
Who was explained that he had sent him like $1,000, not him $1,000, but had paid Keegan, who was going to work talks about commissary, a whole thing. He sent him $1,000. He didn't ever pay this guy anything. This guy's just desperately paying anybody.
He's making it rain.
If a letter shows up, he owes me $500. Here's the money. He's going to lose his law license.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. As all this is unfolding, you find out he's not even a lawyer.
James Keegan's not
a lawyer. So the question is...
Is there an attorney with that name in Chicago?
His father. Oh. His father was a high-priced attorney. It comes out...
So James Keegan Sr. is the brilliant guy. Junior is this moron.
And the reason he did know about like Frank and everybody's like, he was very well-versed in the law.
Yeah.
Because he had gone to state prison and was doing state cases. He was a jailhouse lawyer in state prison, and you learn a lot.
Yeah.
You can get out, like after 3 years of doing criminal legal work, you seem like if anybody who doesn't have more knowledge than you, you're absolutely going to fool.
Yeah.
Came out, he's talking to Frank. This is where I went to school. They didn't go to the same school, but he knows everything about it. So other lawyers are talking to him. They're all like, I thought he was a fucking lawyer. So, Frank, of course, is like, I was always skeptical.
Sure, you or I could pass for an attorney.
Absolutely. If somebody wasn't an attorney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We might be able to fool an attorney.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if they didn't ask too many questions. So give me a little research time. Yeah. So Pete could absolutely pass for an attorney. He did legal work for guys for 20-something years. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so here's what happens is the attorney gives all the money back. And you don't hear anything about Keegan, right? But people are checking periodically. Now, here's what happened too, by the way. So obviously it wasn't commingling of funds. They weren't out to get him. What he had done was he'd gone to work for a company that was like a pallet company or some kind of a company that had something to do with pallets. Mm-hmm. And he was doing their books. And he robbed them for like $400,000 over the course of a year or two. And he's selling pallets out the back.
Simple embezzlement.
Simple embezzlement. He ends up, so while that's happening, he ends up going to state prison. He does a bunch of legal work, and then apparently because of the wire fraud charges or something, he has to go to. So his story made sense.
Yeah.
He ends up going to federal prison. Had Frank fooled. So he goes to federal prison where he runs this other scam. He gets out. Once he gets out, somehow or another, he violates once. We know he violated once, went back to jail because they tried to send him back to Conman.
Right.
He wouldn't go on the compound.
Oh, yeah.
So he stays in the shoe. And then I don't know how long he stayed in the shoe. Or
he would have gotten his ass handed to him, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These guys are ready to kill him.
Yeah.
So some people, if they have like a year to do your 2255, they miss the deadline.
Yeah. They're doing time because of him at this point.
They don't have any recourse. Mm-hmm. So he does end up getting out again. He goes back to Chicago. I know he goes back to Chicago because he picks up another case. Here's the case he picks up. This is how ballsy this guy is. This is a true con man. Mm-hmm. I mean, just vicious. And I'd love to know the real, like I have a version of the story I've pieced together, but I don't know. And if you could get him to really tell the story, or if you really could look into it, you'd probably be like, this is insane.
Do we know if he's out now?
Well, he should be back in. Here's why. He goes to, and there's articles about it. Yeah. He goes to Chicago. He opens up a law firm. I mean, the balls on this guy.
Well, he's got the name, especially in Chicago, right? Yeah.
But he does immigration law.
Okay.
Vulnerable victims, right?
Right.
Like, who better to take advantage of than people that can't complain?
So he opens up a law firm without being a lawyer and just holds himself out as an attorney
You just open up we're going to go rent a space next week.
I get it. Yeah.
Like the people that are renting the space, they don't say, "Hey, can I see your law license?"
Yeah.
Not that I put it past him printing one off the internet or paying $40 for whatever legal law school. Anyway, he opens it up and he starts charging people. I forget the amount. I'm going to say $2,500, $2,000 to help them get their green card and get citizenship.
Okay, so he's walking them through an administrative process that anyone who can follow directions in English could do. Right.
So so you're coming in, you're Mexican or Polish or whoever. You're coming in, you're giving him $2,500,
I'll fill out these forms for you.
I've got it. I know a guy, and then in 6 months or so, he gives you a green card. He's making green cards.
Oh my God, counterfeit green cards?
Yes. So here's the funny thing: the amount in the paper was around $500,000 he made.
There'd be so many people.
Yeah. So this was I think he kept it open for either a year to 18 months before the feds come in.
Yeah.
And they grab him and he goes back to jail. Like, to me, what killed me is, why did you go 18 months? Like, you have to be foolish to think that this isn't going to, like, these people are being asked, they're showing green cards, if that's going to catch up. At some point, they're going to say, I can tell you, I paid a guy, I paid him, here's where he is. And at some point, somebody, if you get enough of those guys, some agent's going to say, I'm going to look into this
guy. It's a name that keeps popping up,
Keegan. Keegan is a 90-year-old or an 80-year-old who's retired, but his son, somebody puts it together, they grab him, he went back to jail. I want to say he got 5 or 6 years for that or something, or maybe he never got, I don't know. In my mind, it was 5 or 6 years. I'm assuming he's still locked up.
Be a good guess for the show.
I would love to pull the article on him and give it to you and see what you think. If you could look in, like, if you could probably tell me, because I probably got half that story wrong.
Yeah, we'll take a look into it.
Or I could have Pete look at it. I could have somebody look at it, because I'd love to know what the real story is. I'd love to get in touch with him, but he's the kind of guy, a true con man is never going to really talk to you about this.
Yeah.
He was so arrogant, though. He was so.
How old do you think he is now?
Oh gosh, he's probably in his. He's in his. He's probably close to 60 or maybe 60, maybe 60. 60. old enough to know better, and he's always been a problem. And I got the little bits and pieces from everybody who had talked to his brothers, ready to kill him.
He should sell the film rights to his life.
Oh, I would love to. He's got to be amazing. But once again, non-sympathetic character.
Yeah,
you're like your brother. Here's the thing too. Think about that. Do you have any sympathy for him? Because your brother, you were both raised by the same father. Mm-hmm. Your brother's a fucking successful lawyer in Orlando, and you're running around in and out of prison, ripping people off, pretending to be a lawyer.
It happens. There's always a fail son, right?
Yeah. You don't have to tell my parents.